We're live on YouTube. You can go ahead and start the meeting.
Okay, welcome everyone to this April 5th meeting of the Livermore Amador Valley Transit Authority Board of Directors. I think everyone knows how to participate, but under the COVID rules, the information is on the website, but we're doing this on the remote. And with that, call to order, please. Can we have a roll call of the members?
Yes. Vice Chair Brown.
Here.
Director Halbert. I don't see him in the meeting yet. Director Hernandez.
I'm here.
Director Josie.
Here.
Director Kick.
Here.
Director Narum.
Here.
And Chair Warner.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to now go to agenda item 3, meeting open to the public. Do we have any members of the public present who would like to participate?
So I don't see any hands, and we didn't receive any messages via email from the public.
Okay, well, I'll close the public comment. And we're on to item 4, which is the March Tri-Valley Accessible Advisory Committee minutes. We have a presentation on that.
Yes, I'm promoting Herb right now over as a panelist.
Okay. Welcome, Herb. Need to unmute.
There we are. Hey, it worked, Jennifer. Okay, guys. This is the March report for our March meeting that we just had. The main items were, we got a paratransit maintenance contract update, stating, having staff explain that our report effective April 1st, which is no full stay, is that LAFTA is now in contract with County Connection to do a 15-month trial period for operations of dial-ride services and ordering rides and getting services, pick up rides that way, reservations. We then went through the recruitment procedures for upcoming terms for the next 2 years of members that are having to reapply. And eventually, each of you in the corresponding departments will get your eventual applicants running through. Let's see. Then we got the annual paratransit report. Staff gave a quick report on the ACTC Measure B program for 22 fiscal year. And then we also got a report based on, for the February 1st paratransit for Pleasanton has been transferred over to Livermore for services, reservations, and covering them. Then a member, David Weir, who's a member of the Clipper program operations, gave a current update on the Clipper 2.0 program, and he's going to continue giving a report as needed. And he gave a report regarding the Clipper mobile app, short report. So we're finding out more about that as it goes along. Then Carmen was available. So she actually gave the PACO report since Esther wasn't available during the month of March. And then we had one concern with services that Carmen had questioned regarding when it comes to the availability of accessible vans for oversized vehicles for the new dial ride reservations that County Connection will have affordable or inaccessible vehicles. And staff claim or states that there will be 2 available vans for a situation of that. And then we also had a minor discussion regarding access on the fixed route buses where the spacing between the new doors covered, the actual driver's door is blocking some of the space between access of for the wheelchairs to make the turn to access the van. But I am working with staff in town on visually trying to determine how to make it work a little better. A couple of days, about 2 weeks ago, him and I met over at BART, and he showed me what the current design was, and I gave a couple of design suggestions, and I'm going to check back in with him on the progress of realigning so it makes it a little better. And that's basically my report, and hope everyone had a happy Easter. Anyone got any questions?
Well, thank you for the report. It looks like Director Brown has a question.
All right,
do.
go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Herb, for your presentation. You touched on it, but I want to make sure that you and I are speaking the same thing. I met with Carmen a couple of days ago, and she said where the hand sanitizers are, when she gets on the bus and she pivots, she's knocking off the hand sanitizer with her large wheelchair. And so is that what you're referring to, that you're working with Tone on, or is there something else?
No, it's actually, you know how we had to redo I'm going to call it the driver cap, where they had to put the door. Well, another member is riding into the door, and so the spacing in between the front axle and the turn is the issue that Tone and I are looking at. I did not hear anything about the issue of the sanitizer bucket, but that probably can get resolved too. So
if I could ask Executive Director Tree, could I ask Tone, have you heard of this? Have you had a communication with Carmen and Hendrickson? And has there been any discussion about how she doesn't want to damage your buses, and I don't want her to do that either?
So it is part of the same issue. Carmen did not mention the hand sanitizer incident at the TAC meeting, but we did bring her on site just to observe her boarding and deboarding process. So I think Herb covered the issues she has when she's boarding the bus, but because of the length of her wheelchair, there are times when as she deboard or leaves the bus, I think it's either her back support or the oxygen tank scrapes the hand sanitizer dispenser. So there's time when she's actually, knock it off from the little holder. So we're working with her and also the door manufacturer to see if there's a way we can retrofit the door to provide her more space to board and deboard the vehicle.
Wonderful. I love a meeting where you're already working on things. So that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I have to compliment Tone. Him and I are working on situations where when he has questions, he does contact me directly.
I love
So he's been very positively supportive of our issues.
Fabulous. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it, Daniel. Unless anyone else has any questions.
I don't see any other questions, and thank you, Herb, and for what you and your advisory committee does. So thank you.
All right, well, I'll see you next report then.
Okay, looking forward to it.
This is Jennifer. I just wanted it on the record that David Halbert just arrived at 4:08 p.m.
Apologies for being late, everyone. Thank you.
No problem. Good to see you. So we're on to the consent agenda. Anybody want to discuss any item, or do I have a motion?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
I second Kurt Brown.
Okay. Can we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Director Halbert,
Aye.
Director Hernandez,
Yes.
Director Josie,
Yes.
Director Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes,
Chair Warner,
Yes.
passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. On to agenda item 6, so the alternate appointment of lab to board member to Innovate 680. Is there someone making a motion with respect to this, or is there any staff discussion at this point that's necessary?
I don't think there's a staff discussion. I'm not sure, Michael, if you have something, but we wanted to put an alternate, which I was going to suggest Kathy Narum.
Are you going to suggest or move?
Well, I will move. But I didn't know if Michael had something to add on.
You know, I don't, other than that
Okay.
you were selected in the previous meeting and the alternates on the agenda, so.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
what happened is I was elected and then we wanted to bring in an alternate because I was an alternate to Mayor Brown. And so we just felt that we wanted to keep that in the sequence.
I'd like to second that motion. I think Kathy'd make an excellent alternate. And I think we have a mayor's meeting coming up, Alameda County mayor's meeting coming up. So you might just be serving all really quickly.
well, thank you.
Okay,
Obviously, I
excellent.
think
Any discussion? If not, we can have a roll call on that.
Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Director Halbert,
Aye.
Director Hernandez,
Yes.
Director Josie,
Aye.
Director Kick,
Yes.
Director Narum,
Yes,
Chair Warner,
Yes,
passes unanimously.
great. So congratulations there, Kathy. So
Thank you.
we're on to the executive director's report, item 7.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. You know, I have a few things in the executive director's report. I didn't put a bunch of pictures in this time, which is always helpful to kind of get a visual of what we've been working on. But do want to note that we've had an uptick in our ridership a bit, nowhere near where it would normally be the case this time of year, of around 7,000 rides. But certainly the average of 1,500 rides on a weekday is moving upwards from where it has been in the kind of the worst moments of the pandemic. So we're working on ridership. We continue to work on physical distancing on the bus to really have folks not only wearing a mask on the bus and not only taking advantage of the hand sanitizer that's available for them, but also to just watch their distance. So certainly complementary to that has been the schools that have resumed service, and we've got Tony on the line if you'd like to talk about how we're interacting with the school district. But I think the loads have been light and we've been able to manage those. Tone's been managing the MV contract and the recovery process with MV of hiring additional drivers with anticipation that in the recovery phase we'll have more and more buses return to the street. We've got some funding opportunities that we've certainly been working with. I'm sure at the cities and at the county, you've been busy with the potential earmarks that are right around the corner, the appropriation process. Also, we have a FAST Act reauthorization process that's certainly underway, at least behind the scenes. So you've got a 5-year transportation bill that should be coming forward. And we've been having active discussions on how to position LAFTA within that 5-year transportation bill, in particular with hydrogen, the SAV project, and certainly as we look at that 5-year bill, you have Atlantis, which allows you to continue to your zero emission project with your buses for future zero emission acquisitions. Atlantis will play a key role in having the infrastructure there to operate those buses. There's lots of sound bites with Atlantis that actually are right on point with the Biden administration. So we're working closely with the congressman to talk about that. I will just kind of hit the rewind button. You've got the most kind of front and center is the earmarks, and what we're hearing is that the earmarks will be somewhere between maybe 500,000 and $1 million, maybe $1.5 million on occasion. And we have worked really, really closely with ACTC at the direction of your board chair, Mayor Warner, to have ACTC and also CCTA, the Transportation Agency or Commission in Contra Costa County, and also Rick Ramasir and County Connection and LAFTA be on the same page as far as requesting funding for the development of a hydrogen bus that could be for purchase for LAFTA and for Gilligan, for quite frankly, the rest of the industry in the US. And also planning money for hydrogen so that we get the stations in the right spot. And AC Transit, believe it or not, is even on the same page with LAFTA and County Connection, ACTC and CCTA on this request. So a real strong effort to work towards a fairly substantial earmark to help us with the hydrogen. Not only the creation of a bus from Gillig that would be hydrogen, but also the planning of the infrastructure. And I don't know, Mayor Warner, if you wanted to say anything additional to that, other than you've been right in the thick of things leading that show, so it's been hugely appreciated.
The only thing I'd add is I appreciate everything you're doing and working with ACTC and Tess there to get it done, and I'm hopeful. So let's all keep our fingers crossed. And I think what you're saying is that this first earmark level is just the one to get started, and that there might be more further down the line. And it would be great if we could get Gillig into the hydrogen bus business.
Yep, correct. So with that, I'll just tidy up the rest of the things in the report and be available for questions you might have. The hub study that you'll recall CalSTA asked us to oversee and to manage, that's getting near the draft stage. So my expectations are that at the next board meeting, you'll have a report on that hub study, what it encompasses, what the plans are that have been made in regard to express bus on the 680, and also, quite frankly, the technology, the hydrogen technology that's being recommended in that package, in that study. We've got Tone here, your Director of Operations and Innovation. I'll kind of just keep going, but certainly he's here for questions. The project that we've had where we have partnered with County Connection for paratransit. The first day of April was our first day working under that new partnership. It went really, really well for a lot of different reasons. And as seen in your staff report, there's a lot of benefits that we're envisioning out of that partnership. The game plan was to just get it up and get it going because there was a lot of work in that regard. And then to work with kind of an ad hoc committee of board members with the County Connection Board to identify really solidly the goals and how we would track those goals. So I anticipate within the next 30 days, I know Supervisor Hobart was very interested in this, sitting down with that ad hoc committee and just working through what in fact we hope to accomplish and how we'll measure that and report back to the boards. But that went very smooth, the transition. And again, that has a significant cost savings to the agency, as well as just some really quick inherent benefits that were listed in the staff report that came along for the customers. Bike e-lockers, just want to let you know that in working with the city of Livermore, funding was obtained for new bike lockers over at the Livermore Transit Center where you have your historic depot. You can see from the picture that they've been installed adjacent to the parking garage, which historically has been where the long-term bike parking has been located. But I think what's significantly different in these bike lockers is that you can use basically your Clipper card and you can rent space for your bike by the hour. It's literally pennies by the hour. instead of having to literally rent these things for a whole month at a time, which was, I think, the previous arrangement with the bike lockers. So a nice upgrade for the city of Livermore and for LAFTA with the bike lockers and for ACE. And Stephen Dunbar played a big role in that project. I think there were two other things noted. The Dublin parking garage, you received a pretty big informational item on that at the last board meeting, but there is some information in the executive director's report to keep you up to speed on that. And then the Santa Rita project in Pleasanton. Certainly Jennifer Yeamans has led both that and the garage project and is here if you have any questions, but I think they're closing out that project. I think the only thing we're anticipating on our end is we have some decal schemes to go on those shelters with the glass, and that's kind of an ADA component as well as just an upgrade visually. And so we're just narrowing down what that striping scheme can look like to keep those shelters really attractive looking and enhance the look. So other than that, I think we're getting really close to being completely done with that project. So that's a quick report on what we're working on, but certainly obviously the ridership is the big news and that it's ticking upwards, and I think we'll continue during the recovery to work more and more on physical distancing issues and additional bus needs as that recovery, moves forward.
Well, thank you. I have a quick question. Do we know how many people took advantage of the free rides to get vaccines?
Tony, any indication yet? It might be a little early to have that count, but wondering if you have that or how we're tracking that.
I don't have any information on that. No, we can get a report for you for the next meeting though.
I'm just curious. And so I see Vice Chair Brown has a question.
I do. Thank you for your presentation, Executive Director Tree. I wondered, we mentioned it a little bit in our projects and services, but in our last board meeting, but when are we looking at more electric buses, specifically SAVs? Hydrogen is definitely an option. It's a serious option. It's a very good option for large buses and long distances, if I understand it. Hydrogen is good for especially that 680 corridor. But if we're looking at buzzing around, I know we have an early generation SAV. Hate to think that it is already somewhat out of date. My question to you is, are we using the SAV we have now? And are we seriously looking at a second one because they are all electric and clean air buses?
Those are great questions. And Tone, you feel free to chime in if I miss something, but we are coming to the conclusion of that phase one where we're using the current shared autonomous vehicle. It's the Easy Mile. As you'll recall, it looks kind of cool and futuristic, but certainly is slow. I mean, that's by design that it's slow. So we're looking at phase two. We have some money identified that we're talking to MTC about, some RM2 money, which is bridge toll money, to enter into phase two, which would basically take the SAV from the BART station up to the Zeiss Innovation Center and the Ross headquarters, about a mile away. And we're actually looking at purchasing at least 2 SAVs that would then create a route and be into regular service, if you will, between those two, we'll call them mobility hubs, the BART station and the business park. We're most of the way there. I think if we're successful with the partnership with MTC, we have been talking with Congressman Swalwell and his staff about creating some funding there to get us over the finish line, if you will, for that project. The good news is the shared autonomous vehicles that we're working towards are manufactured by a company that's called To Get There. And if you go on to LinkedIn and look up Oceaneering or To Get There, you can see these vehicles in development. They operated at speeds of 20 to 25 miles an hour so that they would be very comfortable on a local street with mixed traffic. Wouldn't necessarily be an obstacle for going too slow. So long story short, we view phase 2 as around the corner. The big issue will be the delivery time. Once we procure these shared autonomous vehicles, it's likely to be a procurement that's kind of similar to a bus, and then it'll take about 12 months to manufacture and take delivery. So there'll probably be a little pause with the SAV project in between phase 1 and phase 2 as we kind of construct these mobility hubs and then procure and take delivery of the SAVs. But I see that as a really promising project because at that point you're with a schedule, right? And if you're working in that business park, you can rely on that schedule and have probably what we're looking at is a 12 to 15 minute headway or frequency so that it matches the BART frequency. So that's the vision on that project and kind of how we're working to put the funding pieces together behind the scenes.
So thank you for the very much additional information. Do we have butts and seats yet?
On the current project?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been more of a come out and take a ride in the SAV and experience the shared autonomous vehicle. I mean, it cruises at about 8 miles an hour, and it does go up to the what's the name of the retail center there? Persimmon Place. Is that it, Mayor Hernandez? It goes from the BART station over to Persimmon Place or
Persimmon Place, where Whole Foods is.
Yes.
Yes, got it. So theoretically, you could ride it to a destination there, but at 8 miles an hour, it's more of a look for the public and a ride of what's to come, but with much higher operating speeds in the near future, we're hoping.
With all due respect to Dublin, if you get another SAV, we are establishing quite a nice business center around the Stonebridge Mall. So not only do we have shoppers who don't mind 8 miles an hour, but we have 10X Genomics coming, we have a Workday, and we have 5 large buildings that face the 680, 580 interchange, mostly 680. And they are always looking for a route to get easily to the BART station. So if they if Dublin ends up saying, okay, we're moving to technology 2, then consider us for a technology 1. But I'm sure that Chair Warner will probably also raise his hand as well. So it'll be a fun discussion. But we do have people talking about it and they would love to see it also in one of the other Tri-Cities, if not all 3. Tri-Valley cities, sorry.
Well, it sounds like Pleasanton would be with that, what you just described, the business park there, the BART station makes a lot of sense.
Thanks.
Any other comments or, Director Josie?
Thanks. I had a question on the school routes. Are we seeing good ridership there, and are we having any difficulties with the students distancing on the buses?
So that's kind of a good news, bad news thing. We have not had much of a problem with distancing, and the reason being the ridership has not been so great. Dublin was only in school for 4 days, and then spring break is this week. So I think we'll really see Dublin pick up after spring break. Pleasanton, we've been carrying about 50 a day on 11 routes. So you're looking at about 5 kids per bus. The biggest crowd I've seen on a bus was coming out of East Avenue Middle School. It had 12 on board the bus. And so that's a good load for this early in the year. Pleasanton apparently is changing their hybrid attendance for students, and they are going to have all secondary students coming back 4 days a week starting April 19th, which we learned from the Pleasanton Weekly, not from the school district. So hopefully their reporting was accurate.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Seeing none, we'll close the item 7, the director's report, and we're on to matters initiated. Any from the board of directors? Oh, Vice
Sorry, I
Chair
had
Brown?
one. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to talk on every line item here, but I think Brittany Kickles probably be able to contribute as well. I received an email from a gentleman, Richard Lysett, and he is over at Goodness Village. And Brittany, please feel free to jump in because I know he mentioned that he had talked to you, but it's the tiny home project over at Crosswinds Church. And they've been working with Brittany about a walking path to get to the closest Wheels bus. So I did just send a message to Michael Tree as well as Tony to say, is this something we can look at least for a potential route change to pick up? So these tiny homes are going to be filled with people who are very low income and probably will not have a vehicle to drive and will be reliant upon public transportation. And Brittany, do you have anything maybe to add?
Yes. So Michael, Tony, and I and the executive director of Goodness Village have a meeting next Wednesday. So we're already trying to figure out how we can best serve that area and whether it's adding a station, whatever. We'll figure it out then. I don't want to make any promises or guesses about what that conversation is going to look like, but it's on the calendar.
Thank you. Since we're not on an agenda item, if you can report back at our next meeting, that would be great. Staff, thank you.
Okay. Any other matters initiated?
Brittany has her hand up.
I just said Director Kick. Brittany, you've got your hand up. Do you mean to?
Yes, I meant to unmute myself. Sorry. Can we get an update next meeting about the signal priority system that had been talked about a while ago? I don't think I was necessarily here the last update there'd been, but I'd heard some conversation about it. Would love an update about how that's going next time.
Okay. All right. I think that's the no more matters initiated. So with that, we'll adjourn to our next meeting scheduled for May 3rd, 2021. Bye, everyone.